And as I start every Tuesday episode, it is now time for my favorite segment this week in Shohei Ohtani news. I'm going to talk about the MVP race. I'm going to talk about his start on the mound Saturday night. And of course, he just keeps making more and more history. And maybe a fun little surprise at the end of this segment that we'll get to. But I want to start with his start on the mound on Saturday night. 8 innings pitched, 6 hits, 1 run, 5 strikeouts, not a single walk. He just continues to dominate on the mound. This year, pitching, Shohei has gone to another level. He is no longer just a guy that hits for power and also pitches. Not that I thought he ever was that, but he is now an elite pitcher in the game of baseball. He is a Cy Young caliber pitcher, top 5 pitcher in the American League. He continues to dominate. He continues to just, by the way, he made up a pitch like a month ago. He's now had it for like 3 or 4 starts. It's a sinker. It's 100 miles an hour. And it's moving all over the place. It's just remarkable that this guy can just come up with a pitch on the fly, implement it in a Major League Baseball game, and it be really successful. He's now one of 13 pitchers to have multiple starts of at least 8 innings pitched, 5 strikeouts, and 1 or fewer walk. This one, again, was against the Houston Astros. If you remember, earlier in the year against the Astros, who are one of the best teams in all of baseball, if not the best team in the American League, he has dominated them now a couple of times. And that just speaks volumes to the pitcher that he is. I mean, he is making guys look foolish up here. This was a great tweet. Still blows me away that Shohei Ohtani threw 111 pitches and 80 of them were strikes tonight. 8 innings pitched, 1 earned run, 6 hits, 0 walks, 5 Ks against the Houston Astros. He's the American League MVP. Wow. I like that. Exclamation there.
Hot take.
Hot
take there.
Yeah. Hot take there, which I'm definitely getting to in just a minute, even though, look, I'm going to get to it. I don't like continuing to have to make this argument, but I will. Trust me there. I will continue to make it. But that start on the mound was special, just like he's been all year long on the mound. This year, Alex, it feels like Shohei has taken another step on the mound.
Well, I think he's finally coming into his own. He's comfortable in his skin. Obviously, coming off an MVP season, you would imagine you would be.
Yes.
But the fact, as you mentioned, he just decides to pull out a new pitch towards the end of the season, absolutely crushing it. And it's just his stuff. He has some of the best stuff.
Oh, yeah.
His arsenal is fire on the mound. And last night, he threw his 400th career strikeout, which is crazy. He hit a season high 111 pitches.
Yep.
Mind you, still throwing 100 miles per hour towards the end when he was hitting the hundreds. It's hard to put into words how incredible this human is, Shohei Ohtani.
I'm with you. And you mentioned his arsenal, his stuff. I think John Smoltz said it very well earlier this year when he was on. He said, if this guy was just pitching, he's Jacob deGrom, which is quite the compliment. So he threw a sinker at 100 miles an hour. And so that pitch alone, no pitcher in the last 3 years, there has not been a pitch that was as hard as that one and moved as much horizontally as his sinker did for a strikeout in the last 3 years. Think about that. He just made up this pitch. He just came up with it. It was 100 miles an hour, and it had been 3 years since an MLB pitcher had thrown a strikeout pitch as fast and with as much horizontal movement as the pitch Shohei did on Saturday. This is another great tweet. He literally did it. Shohei Ohtani threw a 100-mile-an-hour sinker with 21 inches of horizontal movement. Every time someone so much as jokes about Ohtani somehow getting better at what he does, he just does it. Best athlete I've ever seen, no doubt. I think that's a great way to put it. I think Shohei is the best athlete in the world right now.
How could you argue against it? He is doing 2 jobs. We have never seen a player. I mean, think about it. The amount of practice and time that goes into being an all-star pitcher is insane. Also, the rest in between. I know you've touched on this before. Starting pitchers take a lot of time in between their starts. You got to let the body recoup. You got to build yourself back up in some bullpens, and then you get ready to go 110%. Not Shohei Ohtani.
He's not doing it.
No, he is in that batter's box hitting home runs. That's what he's doing.
That's exactly where he is, which is where just more history has been made over the course of the last week. He hit his 30th home run of the year on August 31st, and he obviously has 10 plus wins this year, becoming the only player in the history of Major League Baseball with 30 or more homers and 10 or more wins on the mound in the same season. Might I add, he's also the only player with 20 or more homers and 10 or more wins on the mound. So again, I say this time and time again, Shohei Ohtani is just walking history. That's what he is. He's just making history every time he takes the field. I tweeted this a couple of days ago. Nobody in the 146-year history of Major League Baseball has ever hit 30 home runs and gotten 10 wins on the mound in the same season until Shohei Ohtani. So that history has been made. He's also the only, listen to this, this is wild, the only Angels in history to strike out 116 batters in a 14-start span while allowing no more than 18 earned runs. Shohei Ohtani, Nolan Ryan. End of list. That is pretty good company, I'd say. He's also slugging .522 on the year. So I can talk about his pitching and how great it is. To me, it's the combination of both. He's slugging .522 this season. His slugging percentage against is .344. Just to clarify what that means, Shohei Ohtani, the hitter, would have to go 0 for his next 249 at-bats before his slugging percentage would drop below his slugging percentage allowed. How wild is that? His stats are unbelievable. History after history, thing after thing just keeps getting made. He keeps making history. Best American League ERA since 2021. Okay, this is on the mound. Best American League ERA since 2021. He is 5th. Best American League slugging percentage since 2021. He is 2nd. His ERA is 2.87. His slugging percentage is 5.59. I don't know where to begin with this adjective-wise. Alex said it well earlier. You kind of lose words to describe what he means and how impressive this is. But guys, since the beginning of 2021, he is one of the top 10, that's being generous, on each side of the baseball. He is an all-star at both, and he continues to make more and more and more history. His American League ranks this year, he's tied for 3rd in home runs. He's 5th in slugging percentage. He's 5th in strikeouts, and he's 5th in ERA. And his strikeouts per 9 is better than everybody in all of baseball.
So when you hear these numbers, how does anybody question the fact that he is not the MVP? How can you even go against the thought you have someone here who's not only the top of his class on the mound, top of his class at the plate, and doing it at the exact same time? No one else is doing that. No one in the history of the game is doing that. He is, right now, your AL MVP.
I think so. And I, I might be, you might say, oh, the guy wearing 150 Shohei Ohtani faces on his shirt. Of course he's picking Shohei Ohtani. No, I mean, think about it. This MVP race is, we have never experienced something that he is doing before. And yes, Aaron Judge is chasing history, but Shohei Ohtani is history. Every time he takes the field, nobody has ever done what he's doing. In fact, it's not even really close. So you want to talk about the year Aaron Judge is happening. Guess what? Offensively, Aaron Judge is having the best season in baseball. That is true. That is a fact. Guess what? There is also an award for being the best hitter in all of baseball. There's also an award for being the best pitcher. The MVP award is the most valuable, and you can't tell me that a player isn't the most valuable to his team by doing both at an elite level. You just can't tell me that. So I am tired of the team argument. I am tired of hearing, well, you can't be an MVP on a team that's not going to make the playoffs. Well, guess what? Last year, both MVPs were Shohei Ohtani, unanimously, Bryce Harper. Neither of them made the playoffs. In fact, 70% of MVPs have made the playoffs, leaving about 30% by my math that have not made. So it is a thing that happens, might I add. If there was a 1 year redraft, and I've said this before, I said it the other day, I'll continue to say it again, and I encourage you all to think about it this way. If you're drafting a team for next year based off of solely what people have done on the field this season, and you can pick one player, who are you taking? And there's really not even a hesitation. There's not a doubt. I can't speak for you all, but I will. It's Shohei Ohtani. And there's no doubt about it. There's no second guessing it. He's an all-star pitcher and an all-star hitter. And you can't possibly do better than that. So every single argument that people make, it's the team argument. It's the WAR argument, which you want to know what I have to say about the whole WAR thing? Yes, Aaron Judge leads Shohei in WAR by a little bit. It's pretty close. And Shohei Ohtani does both. WAR is taking Shohei Ohtani's pitching WAR and his hitting WAR and combining it together as if it were two different players. Guess what? It's not two different players. And there's no way to quantify that for WAR that, hey, this guy that you're adding stats for, it's actually one player. There's no way of doing that. So the WAR argument bothers me as well because you can't place a value on what doing two things at once is. I will place a value on it, and it's high. That's my value for Shohei Ohtani, is his value is high.
I was expecting something coming out there. That was good. It is high. It is the highest. You could put it that way.
That's also, it is the highest. So I agree with you, and everybody here knows that I agree that this MVP race it's Shohei's. And there's also the other argument of, well, is Shohei Ohtani just going to win the MVP award every single year because he pitches and hits? If he does it like this, yes, there's a difference between being a pitcher and a hitter at the same time and hitting 150 and having a 4.5 ERA. He has a ERA in the mid twos and 30 home runs and a batting average higher than it was last year when he was the unanimous MVP. Don't overthink it. Stop getting confused. The MVP is Shohei Ohtani, and there's really no discussion. Do not get bored with what he does. Do not stop appreciating what he's doing just because he's doing it now year after year. Appreciate it while it is happening. And what I also want you to appreciate is this surprise that I have right here. And in Japan, every single day, I had my Japanese word of the day. Now, I am back. And what I want to do is continue that. I want to continue to learn Japanese. I want to continue to do it from my friend Masa. And after a trip across the world, not only am I back from Japan, but my good friend Masa, who is teaching me Japanese, is back for today's Japanese word of the day. Masa, come on out, my friend. He is on set for the first time. This is so great. I'm going to head on over here. It's so great to see you, buddy. Back from Japan. You came back a couple of days after I did, right?
Yeah, just came back Friday morning.
So you come back Friday morning and you might think, okay, jet lag, how am I going to recover? And you hear from me, hey, guess what, Masa? You're coming into studio and you're going to help me continue the Japanese baseball word of the day. So first off, what is today's word of the day?
Okay, today's word is ichiban dasha.
Ichiban dasha. Okay, what does that mean?
Leadoff hitter.
Leadoff hitter. Ichiban dasha.
Yep.
Leadoff hitter.
Dasha.
Okay, leadoff hitter. I like that a lot. So I'm not going to go through all the ones you taught me because, but I
still remember, right?
I still do remember most of them. Yakyu, Sanshin, Nito Ryu, Gokigenyo, Hajimario.
Baseball.
Well, those ones aren't baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll save that for the end of the show.
Sure.
Okay, Ichiban Dasha, leadoff hitter. And first off, thank you. I'm excited. You know, you won't always be in studio, but I do want to continue the word of the day, continue to learn Japanese, so you will be on some form or another. Also, this is being the subtitles at the bottom right now that you see. If you're ever watching this and see the Japanese subtitles, it is courtesy of my good friend Masa right here. Right here. So thank you for that. Masa, but before we finish off this week in Ohtani News segment, the trip to Japan was incredible, and it was so awesome having you along the way. What is one of your favorite things that stick out? What's one thing that you'll remember forever from the trip?
Yeah, kind of thinking. There's so many moments. But last day of the trip, the Friday, it was Friday. From the Sapporo interview, and the first pitch, and then last one. I want to know, how do people react about the fox dance?
The fox dance, which at some point I need to pull out on here. Alex is going to one day play the trumpet, and I'm going to do the fox dance to it. So that was a great day. By the way, that first pitch, also courtesy of this guy. If you ever need strings pulled in Japan, just hit up Masa, and he will get it done. So Japanese word of the day is continuing. We will do it on these Tuesday episodes. Masa, thank you, my friend. And that does it for this week's This Week in Shohei Ohtani News.